All right, good evening, folks. Put together a little video here. If you guys have asked me and want to make sure I follow up with that on the TC Omega on the action on the lockup. And if the lockup, it's got a camming action, it breaks over center as you roll basically call it a falling block or whatever you will. But as you roll the trigger guard up, there's a linkage between it and the actual action that breaks over center and gives you lockup or a good tight, snug uh, headspace to the module or to the end of the barrel or 209 primer, whichever setup it is. And over time, some of them will loosen up, especially with modules and stuff. Once we put a new gun together to shoot them a while, they tend to loosen up a little bit. You adjust them, and then they seem to stay there for pretty well the end of it, just seating everything in. So I'm going to go over that a little bit because you can absolutely destroy one of these if a guy does the wrong thing. And I'm going to put together a quick video here of that. So bear with me. I'm going to try to switch the camera and put it on here. And we're going to drive some pins out. And I'm going to do my best to move the camera around so you can see exactly what we're doing here. It's relatively simple as long as you just kind of follow some guidelines here of what to put together. So let me move the camera and I'll show you what's going on. All right, so here's a setup. This is just a factory TC Omega. See triggers on it, just like you pull yours out of your stock barrel assembly. Just pull your two screws out, and you've got this. All I've got laid out here works pretty good. Is just two wooden blocks, 2x4s. This got some holes so you can back up some different pins, but all you need is two little chunks of wood, something to lay it on. Get it up a little bit, makes it easier. So there's a chunk of wood underneath this, and I'll lay the barrel on that rag, and then this end here is just a block of wood. Absolutely works best is just cut one layer of cardboard. Just cut it out of a cardboard box. So there's a little offset between the diameter of the barrel and the width of the trigger, and that just makes up a difference so it lays there nice and flat. The key thing on these, the absolutely number one key thing is, I don't know if we're going to be able to see it, but most of you guys know these are the cross pins. And these cross pins are smooth, but the one end is knurled. So if you try to drive it out the wrong way, you're driving a knurled pin through all the parts. It's not intended for that. Everything else is a slip fit. There's just a knurled head to hold these pins in. So you absolutely have to drive them out the correct direction. And that direction is, if you're looking at the gun, just like you'd shoot it, you got to drive the pins out from the left side to the right side. Reminder, drive the pins out from the left side to the right side. This is as you're looking down the barrel. So we're going to lay that on the block. If you want to take the action off the barrel, I'm going to cover that real quick. These newer style have the knurled pins on every pin has a knurled, and they're knurled on the right side, so you got to drive them out left or right, as I said. If you have an older or one of my custom Omegas, they're going to have an Allen screw in the front of the trigger guard and in the cross pin that holds it to the barrel lug. And that takes a 1/16 Allen wrench. You back those up a couple turns, these cross pins will just push right out either direction. On the old ones, the new ones have to be driven out, just like I said, left to right. So we're going to lay this down. The key for this, the main reason for this video is that lockup and how to adjust that linkage, which I've seen a few video guys and they murder it. I watched a guy the other night on a video showing how to do it, and he drove the pin out the wrong way, and he had an awful time on a video. So he absolutely didn't know what he was doing for sure. So lay it on 2 blocks. If you want to cover it up some towels, whatever you want to do, take a cardboard and lay it just underneath the action and not underneath the barrel. So you're going to have something like that. So we're going to lay it down there. Get you just a small hammer, 1/8 of an inch punch. Works great for these pins. The pin you're after for adjusting the lockup. So you got a front pin, holds it to the lug, to the barrel. You got your trigger guard pin that holds it to the barrel. And then you have this linkage pin. One goes from the trigger guard in the middle, and one goes up, which is the second one back. from the front cross bolt. The big one, you go back to the first little one, which is basically in the center. The other one back here holds the trigger in, and the back pin holds the hammer in. This is your linkage pin, and this is the end you have to knock out to adjust this. And what it does, it's just got a hex on it, just like a bolt, a nut, and you move that nut to adjust the lockup. So right now, this is a brand new X7 I've got in a box still that I've kept around, but it locks up pretty stinking good. What we're going to do is, you're going to just click that open, lay it till it's touching the barrel but not locked. Put it back on your cardboard and your 2 blocks. You're going to take across your punch. And I don't know if you're going to see it, but it's the first small pin, starting from the muzzle end, you come back to a big pin. The second pin is your cross pin. And you're just going to want to tap that pin out, that cardboard. The cardboard's going to trap it. So you can hear right there we hit wood. The cardboard's just thick enough to cover that knurl. So now you flip it up. This has got a scope rail, so it works real nice. You flip it up, and that pin is sticking out about 1/8 of an inch. It's out past the knurl. You want to grab a pair of small pliers. Don't drive the pin all the way out. I'm going to show you why, because then you're going to have to fix the trigger spring. So grab that pin with a pair of pliers and just slowly twist it and pull it out about halfway. Then, if you want to do it, make it really nice. Get you a little scale, tape measure, yardstick, whatever. Pull that pin out exactly 5/8 of an inch. Just do it easy until it's sticking out 5/8 of an inch. That's all you need to do. Now, if you raise this trigger guard up, you'll see the action now is not moving with it. We've disconnected the cross link. And that cross link, let me try to get that. You can see right there in the middle. I don't know if you're going to make it out, but there, you'll see. There's a cross link. It's got a nut, just a 6-sided nut. To tighten, to get the lock up more, you're going to like unscrew the nut, just like you're going to turn it off. So upside down like this, you're going to turn the nut clockwise to take it like you're taking the nut off. If your lockup is almost good, just not tight enough, all you're going to have to do is turn that nut one flat and put it back together. Do it again, put the pin back in, check it. If it's not quite, do it one more. Don't go crazy spinning it, you'll lose track and you'll be there for an hour trying to find your spot. So if we wanted to tighten the lockup on this, we're going to turn that nut. You'll see right there, there's a flat of a nut and there's a hole in the end. The hole's where that pin's going to go back in. But right now we've got that disconnected from the action itself. The trigger guard is disconnected. So you're going to turn that nut out one flat. You're going to lower it back down in there. And the easiest way to get that back in, just drop it back in where it was. Remember, don't pull that pin out any further than you have to. Take your punch and come in from the off side and go through until you get into the hole of that. So it's connected with your punch. You get that there, and then you're just going to ease that pin back in until it goes in. Push it in until you stops, and now you've got you're connected again because your trigger's working. Your action's moving with the trigger. You got your cross pin in. You still got to drive it into the knurl. We're going to lay it down, and then we're going to drive it back in. I'm going to show you what happens if you don't. If you pull that pin out, and let's say you get crazy and you jerk it all the way out. Now what you just did is you've disconnected the spring to the trigger. The trigger spring is held down and locked in place by that cross pin. So that gets to be a little bit of a nuisance to get back in. But if you end up doing that, push that spring back down, run that punch in from the far side, and you're going to end up hooking that spring under that cross pin, under that punch. I didn't totally prepare for that. So easiest way is just take a flat screwdriver, push that trigger spring back down in place. So then you can push that cross pin and back over and cover it up. So let me get that down in there. definitely not the easiest thing to do to get that. That's why I say don't pull that pin out more than 5/8 of an inch, or you'll have a minute to get that back in place. It's not bad at all to do when you get the trigger completely torn apart, but we're not intending to tear the trigger completely apart. We're just wanting to adjust that cross pin. So, all right. So we got it hooked underneath there. Like I say, don't pull that cross pin out. If you're just adjusting the lockup, don't pull that cross pin out no more than 5. You want the pin sticking out 5/8. Now you're going to lower that, as I showed you before. We'll lower that link back down in there. Use your punch from the other side. Come into the hole. Find that cross link so it's now connected. And you'll ease it around until you get that cross pin to go back in there. Now it's connected, as we said. Lay it back down on the side. Put your cardboard underneath there. Tap that pin in. Use your punch. And just flush it out. And drive it down until it's flush. Once it's flush, then you adjust your lockup. Just like that. So let me buzz through that real quick. So we're going to start from scratch. We're going to knock the cross pin out. You go the first small pin from the front of the barrel. So from the muzzle end, you got a big pin that holds the action onto the barrel. Come back one in your action itself, not in the trigger guard. You got a cross pin here. Has to be driven out left to right. Put your punch on there. Drive it out till you hit wood through your cardboard. Stand it up on its side. It didn't quite punch it hard enough. Now, like I say, don't pull that pin out more than 5/8. Right there's 5/8 of an inch. The cross link will come loose. Adjust your nut till you get your clockwise to get it to get tighter. Put your cross pin back in. Lay it on its side. Put your cardboard on it so it's nice and flat. Get it started. Take your punch. Drive it down. Drive it down flush. And you're set. And then your lockup should be A1. So anyway, hope that helped you out. Now, if you guys said your lockup was a little bit loose, they wanted to adjust it, I warned them. I said, let me get a video together. So what happens is, if you don't back these actions up and you try to drive them out, the offside is knurled. Like I said, the far side of the pin is knurled. You start driving on it, it starts spreading the action open. And on the trigger guards especially, it's really easy to break them. They're cast. So if you don't back up them things and give that clearance, cardboard or something for that clearance to drive into, or into a clearance hole in the wood that's backing it up, you're going to break these or bend them all out of shape. So like I say, it's real simple, but you just got to have the right technique and go the right direction. So drive it out just as you're looking at the back of the gun. Drive them out left to right. God bless you. Hope that helps you. And you have a wonderful week. And Thanksgiving's coming up, so happy Thanksgiving to you.